Ever since I overheard Jiang Yu arguing with his grandfather, I've kept my distance from him. The first time he fought with his grandfather was to defend his ex-girlfriend, he said offhandedly. If you hadn't forced me to marry her back then, Chen Yining and I would have a child old enough to call me dad by now. I started avoiding any occasion where he was present and stopped bothering him altogether in public. I made a point of clarifying that there was nothing between us. A colleague saw me getting out of his passenger seat and asked, all gossipy, what our relationship was. I gave a tight-lipped smile. President Jiang is my cousin. I saw the smile freeze on Jiang Yu's lips, his face darkening. I returned home to retrieve something I'd left behind and heard voices coming from the study. Hearing Jiang Yu and Grandfather Zhang's conversation, I froze. Grandfather Zhang's face turned ashen. Jiang Yu, are you helping that woman again? You've been married to Ming Shu for 2 years now. And still no children. Jiang Yu's voice was cold and detached. Grandfather, she has a name. Grandfather Jiang sneered. Chen Yining, if she had any sense, she wouldn't have asked you to help her like this. What would Ming Shu think if she found out about this? I think Chen Yining has ulterior motives. She's not a good person. That remark probably made Jiang Yu feel uneasy. He furrowed his brows slightly. Grandpa, I was just giving her an internal referral. Grandpa Jiang let out a derisive chuckle. Just an internal referral. It's already reached me. If she were decent, she'd know you're married and stay out of it, instead of shamelessly pushing herself in, trying to break up someone else's family. You've been married to Ming Shu for 3 years, and you still don't have a child. Jiang Yu's voice was cold as he spoke calmly and deliberately. If you hadn't forced me to marry her back then, Chen Yining would be my wife now. Our child might even be old enough to call me dad by now. My eyelashes fluttered violently, and my breath hitched. Grandfather Jiang picked up a glass from the table and hurled it, his voice low and furious. Nonsense, Jiang Yu, how can you say such a thing? Jiang Yu let out a cold laugh. If you really wanted to repay them, you should have sought out the mother and daughter years ago. Only now that she's a grown adult with a job do you remember the debt for saving your life. Grandpa Jiang was livid, his face flushed crimson with rage. You're really rebelling against me now. Do you really like that Chen Yining so much? For her sake, you'd actually say something like that. This was the first time I'd seen Jiang Yu argue with his grandfather, and the first time I'd seen the old man fly into such a fury at him. He usually seemed nonchalant, even a bit lazy, but he had always respected his elders, yet now, he was defying his grandfather to protect Chen Yining. I walked to the shoe rack by the entrance, picked up the document I'd left behind, and walked out the door. If you hadn't forced me to marry her back then, Chen Yining would be my wife. Jiang Yu's words echoed in my ears. His words rang crystal clear in my ears, sending a tremor straight to my heart. For a fleeting moment, I actually believed he married me out of genuine affection. 3 years of our life together, and all that feeling was utterly dismissed by him in that instant. Marrying me was nothing but a repayment for my grandfather saving his family, too. I didn't find out until I got to the office that the new design director was Chen Yining, so Jiang Yu had pulled strings to get her the position. The hiring bar for our company's design department is notoriously high, top tier in the industry. Only the best of the best manage to carve out a place here. The competition here is cutthroat. The workplace is a ruthless arena of ambition and gain, and nowhere more so than in the world of art and design. Chen Yining's sudden appointment caused quite a stir in the company. Our marketing department works closely with the design department. The whole department is buzzing about Chen Yining's background. I heard she's backed by the CEO of Elian Tech. She's got powerful connections. Actually, she didn't just get in through connections. Jiang Yu from Elian Tech handed her the company's entire design workload for the year. She brought her own resources with her. Our company has been trying to get in with Mr. Jiang from Elian anyway. With those resources in her pocket, of course she walked right into a director position. Someone chimed in, sigh, success is 30% hard work, 70% luck, but ordinary folks like us can hardly hope for that kind of backing. I've met Chen Yining once. She's about the same age as Jiang Yu. She's 4 years older than me. When we met, I still saw her as an older sister. At the time, I didn't know she was Jiang Yu's ex-girlfriend. Besides her, other friends of Jiang Yu were also present. We had a meal together. In Jiang Yu's social circle, I felt out of place. Chen Yining took my hand and called me little sister. There were about 7 or 8 people at the table, and only she and I were women. She told me I could call her sister. Chen Yining was already close with everyone and chatted effortlessly with them. She initiated a conversation with me, easing my embarrassment at that moment. I was deeply grateful to her in my heart. During our talk, when she found out that I was getting married to Jiang Yu, she paused, startled, then she smiled at me and willingly shared some tips about relationships. As she spoke, she glanced over at Jiang Yu. Jiang Yu looked at her briefly, then took a small sip of his drink. That night, Jiang Yu was a bit drunk. Before leaving, in the hallway, I overheard him talking with a friend. Brother Jiang, are you really just going to let it go? Yining is leaving for overseas tomorrow. Aren't you going to see her off? Jiang Yu's voice was soft, the corners of his eyes tinged with red. Yeah, that's it. It was impossible to tell if it was from crying or the alcohol, but back then, I just thought he was drunk. It wasn't until now that I learned he got drunk that day because of Chen Yining. Chen Yining's so-called dating tips and tricks all came from Jiang Yu. She deliberately said those things in front of him. I had naively looked up to her like an older sister. To have been married to Jiang Yu for 3 years and only now find this out, my chest felt tight. I also remembered that dinner party. The restaurant's signature dish was tempura. Someone placed a shrimp on my plate and one on hers. Jiang Yu suddenly spoke, his tone casual and indifferent. Chen Yining is allergic to shrimp. Only now did I realize how well they knew each other, how perfectly in sync they were. Everyone present was their friend. No one else knew Chen Yining was allergic to shrimp, but he did, because they used to be in a romantic relationship. 3. Before leaving work in the evening, Jiang Yu sent me a message. I have a business dinner tonight. This time, I didn't reply to his message. That night, I didn't prepare tea to sober him up, nor did I leave a light on in the living room for him. When we were newlyweds, I thought small gestures like these could touch each other's hearts. They could bring us closer together. I'd even go to the airport to wait for him when he was traveling on business. Now, I don't do any of those things anymore. As I was about to fall asleep, I heard faint rustling sounds outside my bedroom. The door opened, and my eyes met Jiang Yu's. I looked away and walked toward the bed, saying nothing to him. Jiang Yu's brows furrowed slightly. Why didn't you leave the living room light on today? I said, wasting electricity. He curled his lips, a soft chuckle escaping his throat. So thrifty. I ignored him. After he finished washing up, I was still awake. A warm palm rested on my abdomen, his arms wrapping around me from behind. I instinctively pushed his hand away, but he held me tighter. His voice was rough and hoarse. Let's have a child. My body froze, tingling with numbness. The man's words, maybe my child with Chen Yining could already call me dad, echoed in my ears, refusing to fade. I forcefully pulled his hand away, subtly stepping back to create distance between us. We turned to face each other, our eyes locking. Jiang Yu, I don't want children for now. At those words, his expression faltered, stunned. A year ago, I had hinted to him that I wanted children. Now I'm grateful we don't have any. I shifted to the edge of the bed, leaving enough space between us for 2 more people to lie down. Ever since hearing his words, I had been slowly putting distance between us, for I woke up after daybreak. When I made eye contact with Jiang Yu in the morning, I felt inexplicably awkward. Neither of us spoke. He shot me a meaningful sidelong glance. Ignoring his gaze, I walked out. In the past, I was stubborn and childish, insisting on buying matching items to have couple sets with Jiang Yu. Seeing those matching cups and toothbrushes while washing up just struck me as ridiculous. Before I left, Jiang Yu told me he was going on a business trip. I nodded to acknowledge. Jiang Yu was on a business trip for a week. Before he returned, I was working overtime. He sent me a message. I've landed at the airport. It suddenly dawned on me that I hadn't messaged him in a whole week. Before hearing him say that, I used to share my daily life with him, what I ate, what I did. His replies, even after a few back and forths, were still just a few words. Got it. I replied to him. When I got home, the lights were already on and Jiang Yu was already there. He changed into his loungewear, looking refined and composed. Why didn't you come to the airport today? I impulsively shot back. Why would I go? The moment I said it, we both froze. Jiang Yu's lips curved slightly. Chen said the dried mangoes from Thailand are great, so I brought some. Try it. He handed it to me, but I glanced at it and didn't take it. Actually, I'm allergic to dried mangoes. He raised an eyebrow slightly. You don't like it? I thought you really liked mango mousse. I ate the mango mousse because he bought it. I couldn't bring myself to refuse. Jiang Yu remembers Chen Yining is allergic to shrimp, but he's never known I'm allergic to mangoes. Just put it on the table. The next day, I gave some to the housekeeper and brought the rest to work to share with colleagues. 5. Rumors about Chen Yining were still spreading around the company. I found out Chen Yining was Mr. Zhang's ex-girlfriend from Alien Tech. Really? I've seen Mr. Zhang at the press conference 6 months ago. He was incredibly handsome and tall. I expected him to be some balding guy with a beer belly, but he was stunningly good-looking. Of course it's true. Well, of course a handsome guy never stays single for long. To win over someone as exceptional as Jiang Yu, Chen Yining must be quite something. She must be pretty too. I stood in the elevator, listening to their gossip about Jiang Yu and his ex-girlfriend. My heart still couldn't help trembling. Chen Yining arrived for her first day in the afternoon. People from our marketing department saw her and immediately rushed back to spread gossip. Hey everyone, I just came back from the design department. Chen Yining is here. You saw her. What does she look like? Is she pretty? The colleague who saw Chen Yining said, tall, with long, slender legs. Definitely a stunning beauty. She could easily become a model, celebrity, or idol. She's pretty much like Ming Xu. I paused for a moment. Chen Yining is indeed beautiful. She has a radiant, bold look with delicate, well-defined features. The colleague sighed in admiration. No wonder she managed to win over Mr. Jiang. Mr. Jiang must still be thinking about her, right? I think there's still something between them. Just before quitting time, I went to deliver some documents and ran right into Chen Yining while waiting for the elevator. She recognized me and called out to me with a smile, Ming Xu. I nodded and responded with a slight smile. She said, I didn't expect to see you here at Qingxing. I just started today. I'm the design department director. I simply said, welcome to Qingxing. Our department is working overtime today. Hey everyone, it's raining outside. I bought a coffee and came back, and I saw Director Jiang. I even secretly took a photo and sent it to the group chat. Check it out. In the rain, Jiang Yu held a black umbrella, under which stood a man and a woman. Jiang Yu tilted the umbrella toward Chen Yining. His own shoulders were soaked. That's so suggestive. Director Jiang is such a gentleman. This ambiguous phase is the best to ship. Those words pierced straight into my chest. A bitter, sour ache spread through me after learning that Jiang Yu and Chen Yining had been together. I started piecing together their past from subtle clues. They were college alumni. They dated in college and it was their first love. 6. When I got off work, the rain had mostly stopped. I didn't go home for dinner tonight. Instead, I went out with my good friend Zhou and I to pick out a birthday gift for another male friend. I bought a bottle of YSL men's perfume. Jiang Yu was also at home. He had just finished showering, with droplets of water still clinging to the strands of hair on his forehead. His gaze fell on the bag in my right hand. The man's voice was clear and crisp, his speech slow and measured. My gift. I looked at him, puzzled and confused. No, my friend's birthday is tomorrow. Jiang Yu hesitated slightly. Ming Xu, today is my birthday. I've been so busy lately, I forgot. It suddenly dawned on me, and I said, happy birthday. He smiled. I thought you'd have it ready for me. I said, sorry, I forgot. A strange sense of loss flashed briefly in Jiang Yu's deep eyes. 7. Jiang Yu offered to drive me to the office. I was a bit confused and declined, thanks. But I can drive myself. Besides, Chen Yining works at our company too. Don't you worry, she might misunderstand. Jiang Yu frowned, his narrow eyes narrowing slightly as he looked at me. A misunderstanding? Misunderstanding what? I didn't speak, he said slowly. Assistant Chen took your car in for service. If you don't want to be late squeezing onto the subway, you can ride with me. His car was parked in front of the office building. Why not the garage? He gave a slight smile. This is more convenient, during the rush our crowd. I cautiously looked around. He said, what are you, a thief? I didn't want to become a link between him and Chen Yining, turning into office gossip. Of all the luck, I ran into a colleague the moment I got out of the car. My heart leapt into my throat. Jiang Yu's car was far too flashy. The colleague walked over. Director Ji, who's this? She raised an eyebrow with a gossipy smile. Is this your partner? Jiang Yu lowered his gaze, meeting my eyes for a moment, his thin lips parting slightly. I quickly interrupted, my cousin. Jiang Yu's smile froze in his eyes, his expression darkening. The man looked down at me, the warmth in his eyes and brows fading away. I smiled and said to him, brother, I'm heading out first. His expression grew even darker, his gaze suddenly cold. While riding the elevator, a colleague said, he looks so familiar. Suddenly, she exclaimed, Director Ji, Mr. Jiang is your cousin. I smiled awkwardly. Ah, 8 at noon, Jiang Yu sent me a message. It was a photo of his lunch. I found it strange and didn't reply. A moment later, he sent again, what about you? I said, I'm full. He asked again, what did you eat? I ate rice an hour before work ended. He called me directly, I'll pick you up in a bit. I refused. No need, my friend's having a birthday party tonight. Jiang Yu chuckled softly. A man? How did he know? The bottle you bought last night was men's perfume. He was right. It's a man, Jiang Yu added. Send me the address, and I'll pick you up after we're done. I frowned. Why did he insist on picking me up? Really, no need, a friend will drop me off. I could just take a cab. With that, I hung up the phone. Jo and I drove up in her bright red supercar, making a huge spectacle. I got into the passenger seat. When we arrived, she asked me excitedly, "How's my makeup today? Do you think Lin-Jo will like it?" I nodded. "Perfect." She smiled with satisfaction. It took me 2 hours. After everyone had arrived, the birthday boy, Lin-Jo, finally showed up. We went to a bar again. We didn't finish until close to midnight. Jo and I had drunk quite a bit, so Lin-Jo called a designated driver for her. I hadn't driven, but Lin-Jo suddenly offered to give me a ride home. He said he needed my help with something. I had a pretty good idea what it was. On the way, he told me he wanted to confess his feelings to Jo and I and asked me what kind of confession she'd prefer. Jo and I once told me she didn't like grand, dramatic gestures. She just wanted him to suddenly take her hand while they were walking together and say, "I like you." A man stood tall in the pitch-black night. Jiang Yu stood with his hands in his pockets. His deep eyes narrowed as he looked at me inside the car. Then, his gaze shifted past me and landed on Lin-Jo. I unbuckled my seatbelt. "Thank you." Lin-Jo also got out of the car and called out to Jiang Yu, "Bro." Jiang Yu gave a faint, disdainful tug at the corner of his mouth. A soft, derisive snort escaped him. "Bro, I'm Ji Mingshu's husband, not her cousin." Lin-Jo nodded. "I'm a friend of Sister Mingshu." "All right, I'll head off now, brother. Catch you next time." After Lin-Jo left, Jiang Yu's gaze remained fixed on me. "You remember his birthday, but not mine." The truth is, I did remember. I had prepared his birthday gift 6 months in advance. It was a Patek Philippe watch. After overhearing his conversation with Grandpa, I decided there was no point in giving it to him. I had uncovered every last trace of evidence connected to Chen Yining. The only reason I bought this watch was because Chen Yining said Jiang Yu liked this brand. I gritted my teeth and went with this brand. After finding out Chen Yining knew the reason he liked it, I wanted to give it to him even less. What a complete waste of my money. I lowered my gaze. "I wished you a happy birthday yesterday. That watch is still sitting in my closet." 9. I have a business trip tomorrow afternoon. I stayed up late last night, and by the time I woke up, Jiang Yu had already left for the office. I started packing my bags and headed for the airport. By the time I landed, it was already night. I saw a few missed calls. They were from Jiang Yu. "You're not home yet. If you're working late at the office, I can come pick you up." I said, "No, I'm away on a business trip." After a moment of silence, his voice came through, slightly hoarse. "Why didn't you tell me? I'm on the car. I'll talk later." After hanging up, Jiang Yu quickly sent me a message. "When are you coming back? I'll pick you up." I refused him. "I'm going with colleagues, taking the company car." "No need." No one really wanted to go on this business trip, so I volunteered. I'd rather go on the trip than spend time with Jiang Yu. 3 days later, I returned to Jing City. After landing, I rushed straight back to the office. I had a business dinner tonight and rushed over right after work. Just as the drinks were winding down, we heard a commotion from the private room next door. I heard it was the design department in there, so we hurried over to see what was happening. There was Jiang Yu, radiating menace, grabbing a man by the collar and landing a punch on him, one punch after another. His strikes were swift and brutal. Jiang Yu's friend grabbed hold of him. "Jiang Yu, don't take it too far, you'll hurt him." The air around Jiang Yu was ice cold. All his usual gentleness was gone, replaced by pure fury. His eyes held a cold, icy glint. We stood together on the side. Chen Yining's clothes were slightly disheveled, so Jiang Yu draped his suit over her shoulders. From what colleagues said, it seemed a certain investor had spoken disrespectfully to Chen Yining, angering Jiang Yu. This guy was notorious in our company for being shameless and lecherous, so when Jiang Yu beat him up, he didn't dare fight back, and everyone cheered in approval. "Mr. Jiang is just protecting his own." Finally, someone took him down. "About time, Mr. Jiang." Defending Director Chen, he looked so handsome doing it. Because of this scene, rumors quickly spread through the company that Jiang Yu and Chen Yining had rekindled their old romance and reunited. The man stood tall and upright, his gaze slightly lowered as he looked down at the other person. A faint indifference lingered in his eyes and brows, a natural air of aristocratic pride emanating from within. "Lin Kai, watch your mouth. If your father won't discipline you, don't blame others for." Stepping in, a few colleagues murmured quietly among themselves. "Someone from the design department just told me it was because Lin Kai made inappropriate remarks, openly making crude jokes at Director Chen's expense. He even grabbed at Director Chen's clothes. That's what made Mr. Jiang furious." Jiang Yu's tall, imposing figure stood protectively in front of Chen Yining, shielding her from view. Lin Kai lay on the floor, his face buried in his hands. I stood outside the door. I saw Jiang Yu take Chen Yining's hand, shielding her as he guided her out. When Jiang Yu looked up, our eyes met. He froze for a moment, clearly taken aback. He was still holding Chen Yining's hand, their posture intimate. Anyone who saw them would think they were a couple. I gave them a fleeting glance and turned to leave. A flicker of panic flashed in Jiang Yu's eyes. He let go of the woman's hand beside him and started walking toward me, but there were too many onlookers blocking him. I walked toward the elevator. Just before the elevator doors closed, we locked eyes through the gap. I hadn't been drinking, so I could drive, and I took the elevator down to the garage. As I started the car, I saw a tall figure of a man chasing after me in the rearview mirror. 10. Jiang Yu's car quickly caught up. His car followed closely behind mine until we reached the underground garage at home. I got out, and he slammed his car door shut and rushed after me. Panic swirled in Jiang Yu's eyes, a thin sheen of cold sweat beading on his forehead. Ming Shu, compared to his anxious expression, my own face was a picture of calm, as if nothing had happened. What's wrong? Jiang Yu's voice was tight. After what just happened, I was afraid you'd be jealous. Jealous? I couldn't help but smile. Jiang Yu, I'm not jealous. His gaze locked onto my face, and upon hearing the answer, his brows furrowed slightly. I said, the elevator's here, let's go. 11. Over the weekend, I returned to the Jiang family ancestral home to see Grandpa Jiang. Grandpa looked surprised to see me. You came back alone. I nodded. We went to the study. Grandpa, I've been thinking, and I wanted to let you know first, I want to divorce Jiang Yu. Grandpa Jiang took a deep breath. Grandpa, I overheard your conversation with Jiang Yu that day. It was only after I heard it that I learned Chen Yining was Jiang Yu's ex-girlfriend. Grandpa Jiang's eyes welled up with tears. At his age, he was still sharp and alert, his gaze clear and focused. You heard it. So I can't say anything else. I've lost my right to speak. Our family didn't handle things properly back then. Only now do we think of repaying you and your daughter. It's my fault. If you want a divorce, Grandpa won't stop you. From the very beginning, I truly loved Jiang Yu, not because of his family background. The chance to be with him, to marry him, filled me with excitement for a long time. It was like a gift from the heavens. Who wouldn't want to be with the person they love? After leaving the Jiang residence, I went to the office to work overtime. I've recently applied for a transfer to become the head of the Americas Regional Marketing Department. When this promotion opportunity first landed in my lap, I almost turned it down. Good thing I didn't act on impulse. Preparing all the documentation and handing over my duties kept me incredibly busy. After finishing my overtime, I went to the law firm to see Lin Zhou. He's a divorce lawyer. Things between Zhou and I and him progressed much faster than I'd imagined. They've already gone all the way. Given Zhou Ni's personality, I think we'll be drinking wedding wine within 3 months. Zhou and I has always been bold in love and hate, passionate and outgoing. 12. Sunday, Jiang Yu's friend is getting married. Jiang Yu asked if I wanted to go with him. In the past, I would have been eager to join. I've been busy with work lately, and I still have things to handle. You go ahead. The man's gaze lingered on me for a moment, then slowly pulled away. Okay. 13. On a workday, as expected, the incident that happened during last Friday's business dinner had already spread throughout the company. I admire their speed. I think even someone with the strongest inner resilience couldn't work alongside Chen Yining under such circumstances. After all, I don't have a self-destructive tendency. I truly loved Jiang Yu once, but honestly, I no longer like him now. There's a meeting this afternoon, with Jiang Yu leading the company team to Qingxing for an evaluation. The design department didn't secure all the design work for Elian Tech. Besides the design department, our marketing and operations teams were also involved. When it was my turn to present with the PPT, I calmly and confidently explained my points. My gaze never lingered on Jiang Yu for even a second, but I could feel the intensity of his gaze. This is my last speech here. If all goes well, I'll be promoted and leave. I felt uneasy when the promotion opportunity came. After all, I'm far from home in a foreign land, but suddenly, I wasn't afraid anymore. I just wanted to give it a try. As the meeting ended, Jiang Yu stepped forward and grabbed my arm, while Chen Yining hurried after him with quick, small steps. The man's cool voice carried a faint rasp. Let's have lunch together. I smiled faintly, glancing at Chen Yining. No thanks, cousin. I emphasized the word cousin. The people around us were stunned. Jiang Yu's expression darkened, and he spat out my name with clenched teeth. Jin Ming Shu. I have no interest in playing cosplay with my own wife. Both I and Chen Yining were caught off guard. My eyes widened slightly in surprise. Everyone's gaze lingered on Chen Yining, who had always considered herself Jiang Yu's ambiguous romantic interest, was thoroughly humiliated. She was always so concerned with saving face. Her cheeks flushed crimson, and she stormed out. I watched the direction she had gone. Jiang Yu, you can still make it right with her if you go now. He let out a cold laugh, his gaze dropping to meet mine. With icy disdain, why on earth would I want her back? My wife is you, and you're right here. 14. The office gossip about Jiang Yu and Chen Yining vanished overnight. No one dared mention Jiang Yu's affairs again. When Yu Linzhou helped me draft the divorce agreement, I brought up the topic of divorce with Jiang Yu. When he got home, I laid it all out on the table. Jiang Yu, let's get divorced. You know about the rumors at our company lately, about you and Chen Yining. If you still love her, you still have a chance now. Jiang Yu narrowed his eyes slightly, his gaze deep and intense. He let out a cold, mocking laugh. Ji Mingshu, how come I never knew you were so generous, willing to push your own men away? I looked at him. Jiang Yu, I think we don't need to argue over these trivial things. Take a good look at the divorce agreement. Jiang Yu didn't look. His tone was slow and deliberate. You want a divorce? Has grandfather agreed? I smiled. Jiang Yu, that's your grandfather. Even if grandfather disagrees, I'm still getting a divorce, and I've already told grandfather. He knows. Jiang Yu frowned, his expression growing colder. Why, have you fallen for that young pretty boy? I was puzzled. What kind of pretty boy are you talking about? He gave a faint, thin smile. That bottle of men's perfume last time, it was a birthday gift for him. You forgot my birthday, but you remembered another man's. I didn't beat around the bush with him. His name is Yu Linzhou. He's my friend's boyfriend. You don't need to make things up. Jiang Yu casually tossed the divorce papers onto the table. I don't agree to the divorce. I spoke with a mocking tone. Jiang Yu, do you want to know why we got divorced? Jiang Yu's eyes darkened slightly. You never deliberately hid your relationship with Chen Yining from me, but you also never told me she was your ex-girlfriend. Jiang Yu, it was you who referred her to Qingxing. Have you ever thought about how embarrassing those rumors would be for me in such a situation? Jiang Yu furrowed his brow. I never referred her to Qingxing. I did help her, but only by delivering her design drafts and acting as a go-between. The reason she ended up at Qingxing was that during a heavy rainstorm not long ago, I went to your company to pick you up, but you told me you were working overtime. I happened to run into her, and she didn't have an umbrella, since she came to visit before. I gave her a ride home, but that was it. I didn't even get close to her. To avoid any appearance of impropriety, I'd rather get soaked myself than step under her umbrella. Assistant Chen mentioned that someone from your company secretly took a photo of that scene, which sparked a lot of misunderstandings and gossip. I did it to avoid suspicion, so how did it get twisted into me willingly getting drenched just to hold an umbrella for her? I said with a hint of sarcasm. Jiang Yu, you certainly have an endless supply of reasons and excuses. If it weren't for your actions, there wouldn't be so many misunderstandings. Furthermore, the day you hit Lin Kai from the Lin family to protect her caused a huge uproar in our company. Jiang Yu gave a light chuckle, his Adam's apple bobbing. Your colleagues again? I don't believe this was about protecting Chen Yining. Everyone present knew that Lin Kai took upskirt photos, and he lashed out and hit her out of sheer humiliation. I felt that I stepped in simply to help Chen Yining, not because she's my ex-girlfriend. If you hadn't forced me to marry her back then, Chen Yining would be my wife now. Jiang Yu, of course, refused to agree to the divorce. We remained locked in that stalemate for half a month. 15. What made him give up hope was when I brought up that day. He asked me, why are you sentencing our relationship to death just like that? I think you should at least give me a chance. I lifted my gaze to meet his eyes. I said calmly, I heard your argument with Grandpa. Jiang Yu froze, panic flashing in his indifferent eyes. Our child might even be old enough to call you Dad by now. I repeated to him, word by word. His figure stiffened slightly, his face turning a pale, ashen white. You remember saying that, don't you? You said it yourself. I thought what we had was good. With one sentence, you dismissed our entire 3 years together. Only a fool like me would believe you loved me too. As I turned to leave, he quickly grabbed my hand. Mingshu, I apologize for what I said back then. I'm sorry. Those were angry words I said when I argued with my grandfather. I've never denied my feelings for you. If I truly didn't want to accept you, or if I still loved Chen Yining, I wouldn't have married you. He gripped my hand, lowering his gaze to look at me. His features were deep and refined. Jiang Yu, do you know, the moment you said that, our relationship ended. Even if I'm willing to continue now, we'll eventually blow up one day. Those words will always remain buried in my heart, resurfacing whenever our relationship faces even the slightest strain. If marrying me has caused you pain or made you lose the chance to be with her, then I apologize. I never intended to use my grandfather's life-saving favor as leverage to force you to marry me. I wanted to marry you because I loved you back then. 16. I told my mom about the divorce over the internet. After learning about it, she didn't blame me for why I divorced, worried I'd be upset. She flew all the way from Linzhou by herself, carrying bags full of local specialties. When I found out she came alone, I couldn't help but cry. My mom held me. I asked my mom, "Mom, do you think I'm being overly emotional?" My mom smiled. "Silly child, of course not. The grievances in a relationship, only you truly understand them. Your grandfather and father are both gone. My life hasn't been easy. But do you think it was easy for you, becoming our child?" I never intended to use any sense of obligation to bind the Jiang family. I agreed to your marriage with Jiang Yu because I could see my own daughter was in love with him. This was the first time since becoming an adult that I lay in the same bed with my mother. "Mom, once I'm settled in New York, I'll bring you over to live with me, okay?" My mother's expression was gentle. "All right, I'll wait for you." 17. I set off for New York alone. In high school, I moved from the town to the county seat to live, then I moved from the county seat to Beijing. This journey took me a lot of time and effort, and I endured many hardships. Fortunately, I never gave up on myself. This time, I can go even farther on my own merits. The first time I went to the county seat in high school, I was anxious and uneasy. Now I'm calmly heading to another part of the world. The previous anxiety and fear are gone. In their place is excitement and anticipation for the future. At the airport, I vaguely felt someone behind me. After passing through security, I turned back and saw his tall figure standing among the crowd. Our eyes met for a moment. He gave a slight smile, his eyes glistening with moisture. Once I arrived in New York, it took me a month to adjust to the new environment. The work atmosphere here is quite good. There's also less gossip. Everyone values privacy and doesn't overshare. 3 months later, I returned to my home country again. Besides picking up my mom, I also needed to finalize my divorce with Jiang Yu. We had set a time to meet. We arrived at the civil affairs office on time. Jiang Yu lowered his gaze, and as he signed, his fingertip hesitated slightly. I saw his eyes suddenly redden, his long lashes trembling faintly, a tear silently rolling down, held back with effort. The divorce was finalized. Jiang Yu stared at me intently, his eyes red-rimmed. Once proud and aloof, he now looked lonely and forlorn. After a long silence, he asked me in a hoarse voice, "Mingshu, marry me. Do you regret it?" I said seriously, "I don't regret it. I think everyone has their own personal challenges to face." He was the particular challenge I needed to work through in our relationship. I truly felt the kindness the Jiang family showed me, and also Jiang Yu's tender, thoughtful love. If not for those words, I would have kept going with him even though they were said in anger. They became the source of our conflict. "Jiang Yu, I don't regret it," he nodded. "I regret saying those things. Some words may fall lightly, but they weigh heavily on the heart." After the divorce, I received a substantial settlement. On top of that, the Jiang family, feeling indebted for my grandfather's life-saving act, gave me an absolutely staggering sum of money, along with shares in the Jiang Corporation. 18. In Jiang Yu's perspective, when did I first start noticing the change in her? To be precise, it was the night I had that big fight with my grandfather. She stopped leaving a light on for me, she even forgot my birthday, and then she bought a bottle of men's cologne. I have to admit, I felt a pang of jealousy. She remembered other people's birthdays, but not mine, so I deliberately offered to give her a ride the next day. I wanted to find out if that man was her colleague. She denied our relationship in front of her colleagues. My heart ached with bitterness. Later on, the distance between us grew wider. After learning the reason she wanted a divorce, I hated myself for speaking without thinking, saying such hurtful words. Actually, I never thought about the future with Chen Yining. I dreamed of a future with her, of having a lovely child with her. Whether a girl or a boy, they'd surely be adorable. But when we're heated in an argument, we always say the most painful things. During the divorce, knowing she was doing well in a foreign country was enough for me. 19. 5 years later, I met Jiang Yu again. He had become more composed and calm. We reunited through a business collaboration. When we met again, we had both changed a lot. "Mingshu," his voice was cool and hoarse. "Long time no see," I smiled faintly, pressing my lips together. "Long time no see." The man in front of me parted his thin lips slightly, his Adam's apple moving up and down. How have you been? I raised an eyebrow. I'm doing well. Thank you for caring. Let's talk later. I have a colleague looking for me. I need to go. The next day, before Jiang Yi left, he sent me a message. My flight is tomorrow at 10 a.m. Would you like to come see me off? I replied to him, wishing you a smooth takeoff and landing, and a safe journey. That's where it ends between us. There's no better moment than this. The spring sun shines brightly.